Hello everyone, Chris here. Season 6 is out and it's time to give you the tank tier list. Let's get started. The first character I'd like to touch on is going to be D.Va. This is an S tier character as she got pretty nicely buffed in Season 6 where your thrusters now take 3.5 seconds to get off the cooldown in comparison with 4 seconds previously. But there is a catch. D.Va is a very map dependent character where you have to go for verticality maps such as Flashpoint Gibraltar, Numbani, Dorado, Paraiso, where you can access the high ground quickly with your shift, use your matrix to the full potential, heal for your support backline, and go dive enemies. And even if opponents take counters, such as Zarya is going to be your probably hardest counter when you are playing D.Va, you can always avoid her, and by doing that, you will be able to play around it. This character feels clunky on maps without verticality. Lijiang Tower is a horrendous map for D.Va as you will not be able to escape because every single time you would expose your back, there is a huge model that you have that will just get absolutely destroyed right from the start. Next up on the list we have Doomfist, and this is a C tier character in the current meta. I understand that Doomfist got buffed and now his slam is 6-second cooldown instead of 7. Developers have not fixed the fundamental problem we still have with Doomfist. The fact that you are completely useless against the good Zenyatta plus Ana. You will struggle to find any value while you're playing versus Sombra. The fact that you have nothing to do when there is an Orisa in the game and it's very hard to play around her makes the character very easily counterable, and in reality he is not as versatile as you would want your tank to be. You don't have a shield to protect your teammates, you cannot realistically kill the backline as you will always get slept, cleansed, Discord Orb, and completely devoured right from the start. And if we are being honest, if you would want to find insane amounts of value on Doomfist, you would have to spend ungodly amount of time learning him, and even if you would try your absolute hardest, opponent can just take Orisa, click 2 buttons and have more value just by existing. Character is C tier. Hopefully in future patches this fun character is going to get buffed. Up next we have Zarya, and she goes in B tier. We are currently in the dive meta where you as a tank have the responsibility to either protect your team or dive the enemy backline or heal for your own supports while going against the dive, and Zarya fails to do all of that. Yes, you can throw 2 bubbles on your teammates to save them for 2 additional seconds. Yes, you can bubble yourself and go for high energy. But what if opponents are above gold 3 and can count to 2 and they use microphone and they're like, yo, Zarya 1 bubble, Zarya no bubbles, shoot her. Literally that turns Zarya from the unkillable beam queen into a person that always running around with 12 charge and does nothing the whole map. The fact that you are horrible on maps with verticality, the fact that you are horrible on sniper maps where Sigma is present, and then you're just gonna get poked without even having the chance to protect anyone as they are gonna get one shot. Makes the character not as good as we would want to be. Of course, in metal ranks, you can dominate Zarya because no one shoots, or excuse me, no one knows how to not shoot the bubble. And no one counts bubbles. And this is your greatest weapon, but in reality, the higher you climb, the harder it's gonna be. Next character on the list is going to be Sigma, and I would place him in B tier, but there is a catch. He is exceptionally strong on 3 maps in the game right now: Circuit Rail, Havana, and Junkertown. Geometry of those maps allow you to shield the whole way and allow your poke DPS and poke supports to deal as much ranged damage as they possibly can while you are absorbing as much. But if you would play Sigma against dive on, let's say, Colossio, you will fail miserably. You will quickly realize that you are not going to protect your own team from the dive. You are not gonna do anything while they are going for the rush comp with Ramattra, Lucio, Baptiste, Symmetra, and Mei. You will not be able to do anything against that. And in reality, it's very hard to find value outside of those maps. But when you are playing Circuit Rail, Junkertown, and Havana, and go for the Sigma and protect your Widowmaker, there is a higher probability that she's gonna land more headshots, will feel safer, and go for desired spots that you would not be able to go for if you would, let's say, go for Doomfist. Next character on the list is going to be Ramattra, and I would place him in an absolute S tier in the current meta. Ramattra is a very interesting combination of insanely high impact plus very beginner friendly abilities, and you pair that up and you have a perfect tank for starter players, you have a perfect tank for maps without verticality and maps without Sigma presence. And even on Havana, even on Junkertown, and even on Circuit Royale, you can have insane value on this character, as you have a very favorable matchup against Sigma and pretty much favorable matchup against every single tank in the game. There is not a single tank that you will have insane problems against. It's not like you are playing Reinhardt and opponents just swap Orisa, and now you are suddenly just have no idea what to do with your life. You would rather swap or just lose the game on the point. And you have absolutely everything. You have shield, ability to survive insane amounts of burst damage, ability to kill squishes yourself with 3 taps, ability to slow and set up for your team, ability to have insane ultimate to protect people and pretty much scatter everyone on the point. And if they would want to contest, they will keep refeeding and recharging your ultimate. And I've had games where I would go for an infinite ult until I kill everyone. This is the reality of the character, and this is exactly why Ramattra is an absolute S tier character in the current meta. Up next we have Winston, and this is hands down the best tank in the game. Very counterintuitive, yet we are, again, as I've already said, in a dive meta, and the fact that you can jump in with your Tracer and Sombra while being pocketed by Ana, who's been protected by Brig, literally makes your comp so unique, so fast-paced, so unpredictable, because every single time you can choose a different target and go for it within a second. You have the ability to go for insane distances, set up for kills, you have the ability to heal for your own backline, you have the ability to go for the enemy backline squishes, you have the ability to zone out enemy tank with the healers, and if they don't have any ability to heal through the shields like Rig would do, you would just kill them for free. You have the ability to keep your Tracer safe while she's going for a squishy with you. And overall, Winston is just a great character. I absolutely love him. He's one of my favorite tanks in the game. You have to speak a lot while you're playing him, you have to be an in-game leader, but when you learn how to play him, oh my god, he turns into an absolute pleasure to play. Next character on the list is going to be Junker Queen, and I would place her at A tier. I know many players who were able to hit insane amounts of SR and went on higher places in top 500 playing majority of their games on Junker Queen. She is exceptionally strong on maps where, again, you don't have verticality, and maps where you don't need to shield your poke snipers. The fact that you can pair Junker Queen with Lucio and Kiriko makes the game so fast-paced, so interesting. You can press your shift, Lucio is gonna press his amp, and your team, suddenly moving from 0 velocity, is going for insane numbers when it comes to speed. And you can just press W on clueless enemies and they will not be able to really even understand and process what has happened to them, as you cleaved 3 opponents in a row, got your cleave back again at 3 seconds, and just wow, this is one of the most satisfying things that I personally can do on the tank. And Junker Queen is an exceptional choice, but she is not an S tier because in order to have value, you need to have insane aim on her. You need to land your E's, you need to land your knives, you need to be in the correct position. Her ultimate is pretty easily counterable by Suzu of Kiriko. And overall, Junker Queen does not have the shield or ability to block burst damage. This is why Ramattra is going to be stronger, and in the current reality of the game, Junker Queen is a solid top of the A tier. Next up we have Orisa, and even with recent buffs, where she got increase on her damage fall off range, as well as the fact that now your Fortify grants you a little bit more HP, character has no time and place in current meta comps. Can you realistically play Orisa with Tracer, Sombra, Ana, Brig and play dive? No, she does not have the place here, as her mobility will not allow her to go for the backline. Can you play Rush with her, with Lucio, Bob, Mei and Symmetra? Not exactly. I feel like Junker Queen or Ramattra or even Reinhardt would do this job a lot better, as you don't have the shield, as you don't have the ability to slow opponents or go for insane bursts or Another thing is that character is just very flashy, and every single ability of Orisa makes my eyes wanna look somewhere else but not on the screen. Her windmill is very flashy, her left click is very flashy, it is just horrendous. Character is the top of the B tier. If you are a good Orisa player, you can play around Zaryas, you can play around pretty much anything and have value regardless. Wrecking Ball is another character that you have to spend ungodly amounts of time learning just to have mediocre value, while in reality you can just go for Ramattra and win most of your games and have very positive win rate and enjoy the game more. You can play Wrecking Ball, and for the first 100 hours in the game, I can guarantee you are gonna experience pain, suffering, misery. You're gonna feel like it's not worth it. You're gonna feel like the tank role is just a torture for you. People are gonna blame you. People would ask you to swap the character, and you will never find value, as you are always gonna get countered by Sombra, and in order to play around your counters, you have to spend even more time learning the character. This is the current problem in Overwatch, and there is just nothing we can do. With characters like Wrecking Ball, you either make them so overpowered, in this case they become unkillable, or you add Zenyatas and Sombras into the game and Wrecking Ball just has no time and place long term in the game. Next up we have Reinhardt, and I would place him in the middle of B tier. Unfortunately, when you are playing Reinhardt, you quickly realize that mitigated damage that you have in abundance. Sometimes I would go for 10k damage and 20k mitigated damage that I received with my shield. You quickly realize that that number does not convert into a win. The fact that enemies can just spam your shield without being unpressured makes them wanna do that more and more and more. Reinhardt is a horrendous character when it comes to maps with verticality, where Winstons and D.Vas are present. Or Reinhardt is going to be horrendous on longer maps like Circuit Royale, Havana and Junkertown, as he will always be poked out by Sigmas, Zenyatas, Baptistes and other poke characters that will quickly break his shield and will not allow him to survive and stand in the open. You have very bad matchups versus Orisa, you have a horrible matchup versus Ramattra, you have horrendous matchups on dive maps against Winstons and D.Vas, and there is just nothing you can do against that. Yes, you can pin clueless opponents, but higher you climb, better enemies will get, and they will find ways to play around it. They will find ways to counter you and make your life miserable. This is exactly why Reinhardt is currently middle of B tier. Let's go for the last tank. And the last tank on the list is going to be Roadhog. We are still waiting for his rework in Season 6, but in the current state of the game, this character is a complete abomination and a throw. For 99.9% of the players, you will just not be able to find any value, as there are so many options when it comes to countering you. There are just so many counters to the Roadhog in the current state of the game, whether it's going to be a 1 versus 1 tank matchup, you would go for the DPS, or even supports can make your life super miserable. An overall character is just horrendous. Really bad on maps with verticality, really bad on longer maps, really bad on dive maps, and you are just left alone crying like this kid who never got the playtime and never found a partner to play with. That's gonna be it for today's episode. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comment section if you have any suggestions about the ideas of the videos. Let me know if you would want to see more tier lists, and if you agree or disagree on a certain topic, let me know. See you in the next one. Take care.